Speaking of impressive architecture, how else would you define the spot that housed Rowan's paper-thin frontside board slide popover, all while rocking his fellow countrymen's kicks? Hello, and thank you for joining another episode of Dumb Data, where we break down the numbers so you don't have to. In this breakdown, we'll take a look at the Spitfire Scenic video, starring Australian standouts Riley Pavey and Rowan Davis. What thunder from down under will rip the streets asunder? Let's take a look and dive into some data. As much as I enjoyed not only Riley Pavey and the other Aussies skating, but also the eclectic song selection to the initial part, we're going to focus on crunching numbers with Rowan's section. Single shots. The first of the 22 single shot tricks from Rowan is a smoothly executed frontside half cab nose slide to fakie into the heavily utilized curvy ledge to bank spot, trailed by a hectic but expertly well done backside 180 5-0 back to regular. Proving that ledges aren't the only type of terrain he can navigate, Rowan boosts a frontside wall ride from a kicker over a handrail, mobbing into the same spot with a floaty hard flip. One of the homies gets Rowan's back with a backside flip, and we get Israel Brisden's Arts and Crafts name card animation that signifies we're about to get rowdy. Sure enough, the next clip is a single shot of a revolving Rowan rotating a fakie nose grind switch backside 360, and his facial expression hints that he surprised even himself by landing the trick. Rowan clears the rail from the kicker after launching a lofty tray flip into the fake grass, and reveals an affinity for the spot with a frontside flip. The backside nose slide 270 drop from the ledge is the first of a well-balanced pair of tricks before Rowan frontside tail slide kickflips the other side of the spot, complete with impressive architecture. Speaking of impressive architecture, how else would you define the spot that housed Rowan's paper-thin frontside board slide popover, all while rocking his fellow countrymen's kicks? One of Rowan's obvious characteristics, at least from this part, is that he can put on a clinic at the spot, assuring Mike Moe that he won't only lip slide this ledge to steep bank.
And what pissed me off though about that video though, is that I started seeing lip slide marks on all the ledges everywhere I went. And then like if you missed like a crooked grind and they're waxing where the lip slide wheel area is, you're gonna die, right? And I had a strong opinion about you don't do lip slides and you don't do 50-50s on ledges. That was the rules for me.
Rowan glides himself through a backside tail slide as well on this crusty brick nightmare. Rowan's fakie flip is tweaked out enough to consider it a shifty down this nocturnal 11 stair set huck. A fast fakie tray up and over this schoolyard 3+ block gets a secure flick foot catch before Rowan's ninja scoop foot finds its home on the tail bolts. Serious Jack O'Grady vibes are felt when Rowan tilts his whole body in the air to prepare for this gap to frontside lip slide. Popping so high over the hubba, his back foot gets the luxury of spending some time to perfectly position itself into the frontside blunt. Rowan is rewarded with a bear hug from the bro. Rowan opts out of a grind and a huck opportunity here and decides to jump over the rail and wall ride frontside down the 12 set. Round rails and ledges both get love in the same trick as Rowan crosslocks into a backside 50-50 before transferring the back grind right into the ledge. The last single shot of Rowan's part is the famous round the bend frontside 50-50, and the first bail is what I imagine exactly would happen if you tried this trick. It looks like he took a decent shinner and narrowly avoided an ankle injury that could have put the kibosh on Rowan's skating. Hopefully, we'll get a rough cut edit sometime and see whether Rowan rolled away on the second try. Either way, this frontside 50-50 is another recent piece of evidence showing that the Aussie rail chompers are not to be left out of the conversation anymore when it comes to scary grinds. Lines. 33 tricks make an appearance in Rowan's 11 lines, led in quantity by his third line of the part, where 7 tricks go down in a single take. Starting with a fakie ollie up the curb, Rowan keeps it brief with a 1-2 ledge punch, featuring a pair of switch frontside slide tricks. First with the tail, then the nose. 2 quick pushes later, and Rowan keeps us entertained with a flat ground heel flip, before ollieing up the Mullane and Lindsay Solicitors 3-stair, then tray flipping down. and capping off the line with a frontside flip into the intersection of Merriweather and Hunter Street in front of the Frederick Ash building. Rowan's second longest line starts with a kickflip off a two-stair onto the Bolton Street sidewalk, where he makes use of an organic brick kicker thanks to some tree roots with a backside big spin heading into the corner of Bolton and Scott Street. Capitalizing on a welcoming ledge, Rowan gets his switch on in the frontside no-slide variety, going back to fakie, which is an appreciated, mindful selection that prevents trick repetition in his part, and allows for a last-minute fakie tray on flat. The first clip of Rowan's part is a 3-trick line at Foreshore Park at a time when the man-made lake wasn't filled with water, if my research is correct. In this line, Rowan gets down to business with a high-speed flat ground kickflip and pushes twice before heading into a back crook no-slide hybrid, then dismounting to fakie. Finishing off the line, Rowan stays in fakie and completes a half-cab crook to fakie into the bank. One of the noteworthy lines of this part, Rowan kickflips into a downhill asphalt gutter before power sliding the turn, gaining speed for a sizable backside flip down some stairs, and the landing is slightly downhill. So when he rolls away, we get to see a celebratory switch tray. That's nice. Peep the massive chip in the nose flapping in the wind. Rowan can rip with the chip, no problem. The line right after this picks up where the switch tray left off, with Rowan blasting a tray bomb up a tiny curb into a shopping plaza to prepare for a satisfyingly long frontside Smith grind on a round handrail, followed by a conclusive backside flip. The last 3-piece line from Rowan starts with a frontside half-cab no-slide to regular, warming up for this gap to backtail gap out, then ride through the grass into the street banger, wrapped in a slightly sloppy bow with a toe-touch-ridden flat-ground hard flip into the sunset. The remaining 5 lines in Rowan's part are 2-piecers. Taking us back to the Foreshore Park spot, the first of the 2-piece lines is initiated by a switch frontside no-slide to fakie flip into the bank. And after making sure the camera's still rolling, Rowan perfectly backside flips over that cement barrier thing on the ground. Next is a flat ground heel flip leading up to a long down, across and down frontside grind on a round rail, projecting Rowan straight into the dock, where hopefully he took a break to do some fishing. What could be one of the better half-cab flips ever done. Rowan's third 2-piece line ends with a nollie backside nose slide to regular down the crusty brick ledge to bank wall of death. Look how much his slide foot is moving across the bumpy surface, and then to go to regular across that horribly steep bank is mind-boggling. The penultimate 2-piece line is one that highlights the filming skills just as much as Rowan and his 20th pair of Nikes. The effortless and fast backtail shove is a great start to the line, and the coordination of the filmer parting ways with Rowan on the path then rendezvousing at the curved ledge requires the cameraman to either make the fastest U-turn ever done on a board or jumping off and walking while filming the nose grind 180 popover smoothly. The last clip of Rowan's part is a 2-piece line that features the only nollie flat ground trick, a nollie kickflip, and ends with a kickflip gap into a crusty bank. We cut back to the aftermath of the gap to frontside lip, where Rowan hands his mate a cancer stick to enjoy the relief of not having to do that again. 9 Club Award. Normally it's pretty obvious that the ender is the best trick in a part, but I'm giving the 9 Club Award to Rowan's 3-piece line where he kickflips into the gutter, power slides before backside flipping a big set, then switch tray flipping on flat. The 3 flip tricks in that short amount of time each came with their own set of challenges. The kickflip into the downhill gutter is a unique approach to a line that almost downplays the big backside flip, which is a risky choice in and of itself. And the final switch tray was not sketchy at all, further highlighting Rowan's ambidextrous abilities, all while ignoring the urge to grab a bowl of salsa for that massive chip to take a dip. Do Without Award. This part would have been fine if we did without the backside lip slide on the crusty ledge to steep brick bank drop-in. The backtail and nollie nose slide were way harder tricks that he rolled away from on the same spot, and it would have been nice to see him backlip a rail at a different spot instead of that ledge. Trick breakdown. Rowan did 54 tricks in the relatively lengthy 5+ minute part. Over 30% of Rowan's tricks were performed on ledges, followed by a hefty 20+% contribution from flat ground. And the remaining 11 categories round out the part, making for a diverse collection of clips. The 11 lines totaled just above 60% of the shot style breakdown, with the remaining 40% coming from single shots. Well, that pretty much covers the top takeaways from the Spitfire Scenic video starring Rowan Davis and his Aussie crew. Thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to Dumb Data, click the notification bell to stay on top of new episodes, and drop a like if you enjoyed this breakdown. See you on the next Dumb episode.